are my top 10 books for 2024. And yes, I know everybody does these in December, but I'm doing it now. Number 10, I have The Six. This is a nonfiction book that covers the first few United States female astronauts and their different missions and how they were picked in their trainings and all of their stories. You get to hear a little bit of what goes on behind the scenes. It highlights, people whose missions aren't well known or people who didn't really get the mission they wanted or didn't get a mission at all. Also hear different things such as the Challenger disaster and just how these women were in this field that they never thought they would be able to get into, but they were all very determined to find their place. I would definitely recommend giving The Six a listen if you are interested in space and space travel at all. Number 9, I have Book Lovers. This was actually my first time reading Emily Henry. I started with Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation, and then Book Lovers, just because those were the ones that I owned. It was a great way to kick off summer. All her books are all very set with a summery mindset. And it's just a good cheesy romance. So if you're looking for anything that's just gonna, help you relax, get into a good mood for the summer, I definitely think Emily Henry is popular for a reason. It was just my favorite of the three. I think I was kind of just eating up the trope. That I also did like Beach Read. The one I just wasn't really feeling was People We Meet on Vacation. I think that one is being made into a movie, which, again, I'm like, I would have preferred the other two more, but who knows? Maybe it'll be good. I haven't read any of her other ones yet just because I didn't own them. So, number 8, I have an arc that I actually read is Canto Contigo. This is a YA romance that centers around high school mariachi, which was just instantly very interesting to me. Also adds on the fact that our main character is dealing with this grief, I believe, of his grandfather passing. It's just him trying to deal with the fact that maybe he's not the mariachi golden boy anymore, but also mariachi was his tie to his grandfather, so that is also why he's struggling in that way as well. And it's also, a rivals to lovers trope as well. I really was flying through it. I loved the writing, I loved the descriptions. I literally could just see it in my head playing out in a movie. So I really, really hope you all need to read it so it gets really popular so it can be a movie, because this was made to be a movie. The mariachi scenes would, I need to hear it. I need to see it. It was just such a good book, and it felt so immersive. And please go read Canto Contigo. Number 7, we have Just Add Water by Katie Ledecky. I knew right when this was announced, I was like, I'm gonna eat that up. And I ate it up. Katie Ledecky, I have been such a huge fan of since her debut in the 2012 London Olympics. The fact that she was just smashing all of these records at such a young age. And this came out right around the Paris Olympics, so I was like, I have to wait until the Paris Olympics so I can read her book, because I was like, I need to be in that mindset. Because I'm an Olympics girl. I really liked how Katie kind of connects her passion for swimming and her success to the different people in her life. It's not something we often hear about in people who are successful at that level, and I thought it was really refreshing. Obviously she talked about, my trainer for the Olympics, my coach for the Olympics, blah blah blah, my teammates, but then she also talks about her grandmother and her grandpa and just how they helped her get through quarantine as an athlete who was competing in the Olympics. She's been through the evolution of the Olympics and how now athletes can connect with people on social media, whereas before people just knew them because, turn on the TV, they're on the Olympics. But how, the Call Me Maybe video of it all that she was in 2012, and now how we're seeing Alona on TikTok everywhere, and how, we know these athletes more than we have ever known them before. And Katie's been there for it all. And I'm so excited to read her next memoir, because I know she's going to keep doing such amazing things in her life and her career. And I'll read, she'll put anything out, I'll read it. She could publish her training notebooks and I'll read it. Number 6 is another memoir. This is Miss Memory Lane by Colton Hayes. I've been wanting to read this book ever since I found out it existed, but My library just got it, and I did listen to the audiobook, which he narrates. Colton is an actor. You might know him from Teen Wolf or from Arrow. A lot of celebrities have a lot of good memoirs just because so much has happened to them that we don't know about behind the scenes. But the way that Colton specifically writes, you could just tell that he was putting such raw emotion onto every page. You could tell, like, he felt like he had to get this story out. It was very therapeutic for him. It reminded me of Jeanette McCurdy's I'm Glad My Mom Died. You could just tell that this was a part of their like grieving process. Like, I would recommend listening to it because you can just hear it in the audiobook. You can tell, like, oh, like he was getting choked up in the booth about this. If you can listen to it, because it was such a great audiobook. Number 5 is Project Hail Mary, which again I also listened to on audiobook. I think everybody who recommends this book recommends that you listen to the audiobook version of it. And if you do, you'll know why, like, halfway through the book. It's just a very interesting plot point. I am a very casual science fiction enjoyer. I like science fiction that is still based in reality. I'm a more of a Doctor Who than a Star Trek and Star Wars. And I think Project Hail Mary is kind of that perfect balance because it could happen. We don't know. The Earth is dying. We need to fix it. So obviously that's very topical. Sometimes just reading about smart people, it can be done in 2 ways. It can either be done where you just feel so stupid because you don't know what they're talking about and they're trying to make you feel stupid, or you're just like, wow, this person knows so much. That's amazing. And that's how I felt about this one. The amount of knowledge that the main character has, and I believed it. I wasn't like, why isn't he Googling any of this? I was like, no, he knows all this. He knows his stuff. Number 4 is Firekeeper's Daughter. I feel like I saw this book every single time I went into a Barnes & Noble a few years ago. It was just like right there because the cover is so distinct. I mean, it's a beautiful cover. I was just like, okay, cool. And then I moved past it and I didn't know anything of what it was about. And then I was actually looking at the description and I was like, wait a minute, this sounds like everything I want. It is about Indigenous community. It is about hockey, kind of. It has a mystery in it. And I was just like, I am gonna eat this up. And then I did. The only thing I have with this book that I didn't like is the romance, and that's just because there was a bit of an age gap and he was kind of in a position of power over her, so it felt really icky to me. If they would have just been like, hey, we're friends instead, I'd have been like 10 out of 10. This book was perfect. But the mystery, I was like, ooh, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Why are you speaking to me? I just realized I'm not really giving descriptions of the book. I'm just giving my thoughts. Number 3 is another memoir. This was a very big year for memoirs. Stolen Life. JC, who was kidnapped and taken from her family, I think at the age of 8, for 18 years. They trigger warnings for kidnap, child endangerment, child assaults. JC has such a strong voice in her writing. Again, very similar to Jeanette's, where like in the beginning, like you're reading it and you're like, this is an 8-year-old that is speaking to me. And then you can hear how she grows throughout her time. The writing changes to reflect that. The voice changes to reflect that. Because now she's aware of different things that are happening. It's a hard read, but it's a good read. Number 2 is actually the first book I read of the year. I finished this on New Year's Day. I stayed up until 3 in the morning, New Year's Eve, to read it because I was so engrossed in it, and that is Ace of Spades. I knew I was in for an interesting year of reading when the first book I read, I was like, this might be the best book I've read. And it was a toss-up between having this be 2 or 1. This book is a YA mystery? I think that's how you would classify it. And like right away, like I feel like it just absorbs you so fast. The ending gagged me. I was not expecting that at all. Kind of a spoiler alert. I am usually not a fan when a book just abruptly switches genres. This book, it did the like shift, and I was like, yes. This is how you do it. I literally read it and I was like, what is happening? And my friends were like, are you good? Because I was just like, and then it finished, and I was like, now the fuck, what am I supposed to read? I just read the best book, and it's the first day of the year. Go read Ace of Spades. It was just so good. It was so good. My number one book for the year is The Pairing by Casey McQuiston. I went to Casey's book event for this book, so I got to see them talk about it and talk about their writing process before I had read the book. You could just tell that they put their emotion that they felt while they were experiencing that into this book. So they're in all these different cities and different countries, and it does just kind of feel like a love letter to food and to traveling. I will say this book made me so hungry during it, because every other page it feels like it's just describing this amazing pasta or pastry. I wish I was there. I wish I was on this Food and Wine tour. There is miscommunication. That is the baseline of the drama here. And you're just like waiting. You're like, okay, come on, talk to each other. And there it is. I will say, I have been picturing the main characters wrong the entire time. Kit and Theo, I thought one of them was blonde, and then turned out that was the other one. So, but I threw that out the window, because when I read a book, I tell them what they look like, not the author. So, sorry, hate to bring it to you, you're wrong, and I'm right. Because I texted my friend, and I was like, I just realized I've been reading this whole book wrong. And that's why we need to open the schools. Media literacy is dead. So here were my top 10 books for 2024. I'm hoping to film a 25 for 2025 video. We'll see if that happens. We'll see if this even gets posted. Use Libby, because I owned all of these ones. Every other book I read, I got through Libby. So use Libby. Support your library. Save your money. That's it.